I'm good. It's Friday, but to me, Friday. When people ask me what day is it, I don't really know. Sometimes I'll just go with the flow. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those days. Friday after the election. Yeah, he kind of did. He kind of said, flipped the middle bird at him and said, "I am not stepping down. I'm not resigning, no matter what you say." He is now in there if he wants. Um, you can't fire him. That's right. Now, interestingly enough, uh, when you look at it from that perspective, you don't want an administration butting heads with the FOMC, especially when if you're Secretary of Treasury and your chair of the Federal Reserve are not getting along. That's probably a bad sign, and things aren't going the right way. So, I don't think that's going to happen. I think there probably might be a sit down and say, "Hey, look, let's get some things." They haven't even talked yet, and Powell was very negative. So. Well, it's so telegraphed, right? I mean, we already knew exactly what they were going to do, and that was already in the market. But I think the focus got pulled away from the FOMC, got pulled into the election itself, and I think that became more important story. And we already knew we were going 25 basis points. Now, listen, let's be honest. Powell knows that Trump, with the win here and with the mandate, is wanting to stop the cuts, right? He wants to stop cutting rates because of the banks. He's a bank guy, and because of that, there's a balance here. So yes, it's good for cutting rates, but to be honest with you, 4.3245 on the 10 year, and you saw the numbers coming out of home buying. It is the lowest in 30 plus years. We've been talking about that. I said there's no way people will be buying homes for a while. I think some people would kind of refuted that. No, it's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. You won't. You'll never use it. And if you look at it from the perspective of history, it's very, very, very low. I mean, this is not normal. Even my parents back in the late 70s, early 80s, their mortgage was at around 16%. I mean, that's unbelievable today. But, you know, they did the smart thing and paid off their home very quickly, as fast as they possibly could, piling money away. And when they did that, they didn't buy another home for another until I guess I was way at college. So, when you look at it from that perspective, if this is the home that you're going to be in, you're seeing that now. During COVID, people bought homes at the biggest clip ever, and when they did that, they said, "Oh, look at my rate. This is really low, and this is not normal." And it wasn't. And people got into homes and were more protected from COVID, and so they stayed in their homes. They dug in and stayed in. And then over the last, in this case, 4 years, we're now seeing people getting the jitters to move, and then realizing that the rates aren't there, and then they go, okay, well, I can't get as good of a rate. The price of the homes have gone through the roof, literally, and so they're backing off a little bit, and they're saying, okay, I'll just stay in my home. And what we are seeing, and I saw this in the journal yesterday, was the number of renters is really, really high, the highest level of people that are renting homes, renting homes, not just renting apartments as we normally think, but renting homes, and that's the highest it's ever been too. So Those people that own those homes, for the majority of them now, we've realized over the last few years that they were institutional buying. They weren't buying the normal commercial real estate that you see. They were buying these single family homes, big mansions in a lot of ways, and then renting them back to the people and realizing that they'll never be able to buy it from. And then the bank that lent them, the institutions, the money to be able to do this, to buy these homes, are now getting more percentages on their rates. So banks are going to do very, very well in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Very well, actually. Makes sense. Yeah. You literally took the words out of my mouth. You literally took the words out of my mouth. Hotel rates have gone too far. They will correct probably the next month or two, I think. We've been talking about that already. New York prices for hotels have already started to come down now. You're right. Airbnb, people are switching to Verbo and Airbnb very quickly. Um, Now, they're not looking for homes out in the middle of nowhere. They're looking for normally where hotels are normally located. And they're looking for value, right? So that they go to these different types of places. People are so used to the box of going into a hotel and the niceties and stuff like that nature. They don't need all that. They want to go from their home to somebody else's home, hang out for a little while, and leave and be happy with that, right? And not be stuck with all the fees that you're normally associated with for. I mean, for a lot of times, wow, you must be reading my mind this morning, Howard, because quite frankly, that's right. We've already seen the Trump administration already talk about fees and sporting events. I know the Biden administration talked about it at the beginning of the 4 years that they were tired of all these fees upon fees upon fees and hidden fees. And I know they did a couple of things, which was good. One was phone services, one wireless services, one was another one. But I think Trump administration really wants to go after these fees. They're really going to want to help that. Why are we getting hit with fees that are bathtub fees? I mean, it's crazy. Fees for cable, fees for. I saw one the other day for fees for air conditioning. What? It's like I thought about electricity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, we really must be thinking a lot alike today, Howard. You're absolutely right. For those of you who don't know what POS, it does not mean piece of. It means point of sale, and you're absolutely right. You look back in the day, there was Shift Pixie and all kinds of companies that were coming out with these different types of making it easier for a person to check out. I mean, we don't. The lady doesn't have to, the waiter or waitress doesn't have to take the credit card away from anymore. It's done right at the table, or in some cases, you just wipe it. It's awesome, right? It's a lot changes now. It's not quite Europe where there's chip and pin, which I think they're way ahead of us in a lot of ways. But toast is now you're seeing toast at almost every restaurant that we're at now. I'm starting to go into, and it's so much easier. You know exactly what you bought. It's on a screen, and there's no hiding any fees in there. See what's happening in toast. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and yesterday, so let's take a back step here. Meli, Meli, one that I bought yesterday. Yeah. So as you know, I tried to buy the dip here. I tried to buy the knife falling, and I missed the knife falling. It fell a little bit further on me. We talked about that. You picked up the well done for you. You picked it up a little lower than me. You got a little more discipline than me on that one. But yesterday was interesting. Kathy Wood picked up Melly. She bought lots of shares. I think she bought like 25,000, 2,500. I forgot even how much it was. I got to look it up. But she also understood that dip buying in Melly too as well. I am buying this for long term. There is two large gaps at the top, and they did have earnings. Yeah, I guess they missed on revenue, but they still had good earnings. They still had good guidance, and I like that. But that's what happens on this, and I still like this. This is a more of a swing trade, probably a week or two, or if not longer into this now. I think yeah, 18, 15 now share. So I probably they did, yeah, yeah, yeah. 2,300. That's 500 points away. Yeah. I still feel the same. I still feel it's gonna be a rug pull. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but don't think for 1 second that institutions aren't gonna take their money and run. They're gonna take it and they're gonna yeah, yeah. Mm. I think I think that the amount of money is exorbitant. I mean, trillions of dollars, 1 point what, $4 trillion of stimulus. But the question there was the length of time, and they said 3 to 5 years. So, it's not really a lot of money for the country that's the size of China. Yes, most definitely. Look, SMCI has some serious issues. I mean, one of them is accounting issues. The other one, NASDAQ, is talking about delisting if they don't get their stuff together. That's a big problem for SMCI. But almost every company that's listed almost always gets their, I mean, it's a rarity that they don't get their accounting in order. Another accounting firm will step in, they'll charge big bucks to SMCI to clean up their accounting. And that might be a charge that might be seen in the next quarter. But once they get that cleaned up, then any company could come in and acquire them. Just look at Intel right now, INTC. I mean, that company it was really been beaten up, and all of a sudden it's now back to starting to get back to normal, right? Now, here's what's very interesting, and we're seeing this because of the election, that Biden and his chip 2023 uh, with Chips Act that he decided over the next 2 weeks that he is going to spend almost the next 2 weeks straight working on the Chips Act and getting everybody their money out as fast as possible. That could be very, very good for SMCI. It could be very good for Huawei, obviously, as they start to clean up their act and not be a Chinese company and helping out the United States. But it will be very good for Nvidia and Intel. Intel is going to really do very well. Will That's correct, yes. The question Right. But the question is whether or not the Trump continues that. Why is there such a speed factor in getting this out before the new administration comes in? Um, it's $89 billion. It's a lot of money for single companies. It's not a lot of money for a country, but it is for $89 billion. And I think you said, right. They put that in perspective. Intel itself, the company itself, is worth $113 billion. That's the market cap of Intel, right? Right. And let's say they get 40 billion. That tells me everything. They're not even close to where they would with market cap. If they got half of that money, which I think it's 41%, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at the numbers. Yeah, okay, so they get $40 million, $40 billion, 40 billion on top of 113. Man, that's a big 30% pop, and you didn't see 30% move until you saw 4.71% move yesterday. So I don't think we've done that. It does, yes, right. We got about 20 minutes now and going into the open here. And, I'm seeing on CNBC now, Rivian lowering their FY earnings forecast. The big winner, I think, with Tesla in the election. I mean, Tesla really, really, really did well. And yeah, you do. Yes. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I noticed when I sold my Bitcoin, I put it out there and it was sopped up in like less than a millisecond. So it was gone. Yeah. Yeah. So you still don't think 100,000 quickly? I think 100,000 quickly. Yeah. I would ask you, Howard. And I would ask you to take that Bitcoin chart. Yeah. Yeah, and I would tell you take that Bitcoin chart and turn it into an hour chart for me, and I'll show you exactly what you're looking at. I think you're absolutely right. I think you're not quite there yet, but you could push with linear regression all the way up to that 80,000 handle. It could just go kaboom. There you go. That's what I'm thinking. You know, if you look in the past, it's exactly what it did. It ran up there twice, the linear regression, and it's chilled out the bottom now, and I think the next push is the upside. So I, you know, yeah. So let me ask a question. Obviously, Mr. Crypto starting to look a little bit wonky there on the Dogecoin, DOGE. Is there something going on here by Doge being the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE? I mean, is this a coincidence? Is this that's right. Yeah. Yes. That's right. Yeah. Right. right. But I think at this point you have to question: is there acceptance of it? Right? Is it more than just a meme coin? Who is accepting Doge? Or I mean, people don't realize that Doge was dog e coin. It's what it was, right? I mean, it's a joke, right? Uh, and to the moon. I was asking that. Hey, Shiba's done okay. But I also feel like Shiba has an ecosystem too. They have games and they've got restaurants, believe it or not, in Australia. So there's more to Shiba, and there's some 3D stuff going on. There's quite a bit of stuff actually at Shiba, and I think that if it continues to go on up, I might get my own Shiba dog. Great, glad to hear that. Right. Okay. All right. Wow. 76,148 now on Bitcoin. I mean, is 77,000 was tough yesterday. Got up pretty high up there. I sold a bit more. I'm still holding a bag of USDT, waiting for the USDC, I should say. Waiting on Yeah, waiting for the next dip here. Now don't get me wrong, I'm still very, very long, and I bought dips all the way at 55,000 and did it at 62, and I did it at 65, and here we are again. And I sold a little bit up there. Is there a chance here of a dip at any way, shape, form, or fashion? Yeah, not today. Okay, there you go. All right, 1815 now on Melly. So 1815 now on Melly as we up 2.31% here. I think it's going to go back, catch that big gap up there. So I think I'm staying where I'm at, not going to move. Still keep that play right on. Am watching oil WTI now sitting at 71.21 now a barrel. It is roughly having a problem at the 71.50 handle, and it's slipping back down every time. So for me, we know what it is. It's 68 to 72. That's the range that oil has been in, and you're seeing every time that it gets up down below 68, SPR gets picked up, as well as OPEC has a little chat on social media. And then at 72, you're seeing some people are actually taking some profit there. One of the things you're going to see during the winter, and it's usually is natural gas, and that gas has continued to push higher throughout this. So far so good with nat gas. Is continuing to push. I think it's going to be a very cold winter. You saw hurricane season was really rough in Florida. That usually pretends to be a really wintry winter with snow, and people getting cold, cold, cold. So that in and of itself tells me everything. Now, if I look at it from that perspective, um, I look at one stock, and that's Con Ed, which is down over the last couple of days, almost 4%, 95.25 now. So ED back down. It was right around 100, 110, somewhere around there. And Con Ed has slipped back down to that 200-day moving average almost. So, if you're looking at NYSE kind of stock right there, Con Ed. I do think it's going to be a very cold winter. Now, with that being said, this winters.
Still not fixed. Oh, there we
We
go.
can
I am back
we,
up. I see
we
what
can
it
hear
did.
you, my man.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Microsoft did a nice little upgrade on my computer overnight, and I apologize for that. Ron, let me know that that is working for you on your side now. It does look like it is there. Thank you very much, Ron Williams, for that update there.
1819, 1820 now on Melly. So I think the pop, I think we'll go right back up to where we needed
Steve, do you
to
have
get.
what you're looking at for a target there?
Yeah, probably right around 1900. I think that's what I posted on StockTwits yesterday. Probably 1900. Maybe go higher than that. I'm pretty heavy, and I am pretty much flat at around 1840.
Okay.
So I'll look exactly, but I don't. I This is an easy one for me. I think it's an easy play for me to go long. This is the Amazon of Latin America.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I just it's kind of an easy play for me. And
Perfect.
you're in good shape because you're way down there. I think you're 1750 or something of that nature.
1755.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely working out for us there.
I do
MSTR
think
up
that the
about
problem there is very low volume
1.74%
though.
here. We are now open on the day. Tick is down about 134. Initial moves here on QQQ and SPY are slightly to the down. Oh, actually, SPY slightly to the upside. QQQ slightly to the downside. Gold back below 2,700. Silver back below 32 here. Let's see what we get for our first pumpers here. I do have up. There we go. Seeing our first stop, CLPT here, Steve. CLPT. That did not take long. ClearPoint Neuro, you know those biotechs of some of these pumpers. Oh,
Yes,
that's moving in
sir.
the
Yeah.
wrong direction. Down significantly here, 21% this morning. So that's definitely not one that we want to keep too.
1822 now on Melly here. I think you're going to start to see even more pop here.
Seeing Constellation Energy that had taken a little bit of a hit last week after their earnings back up about 2%. That thing's going to fill that gap too. Another one that I'd be looking here to fill that gap up to about 258, trading right now at 246. So you got some of these where, this gap fill looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah. One thing that I saw yesterday, I liked the news. It was OpenAI buying Chat.com. They want to really make OpenAI very, very easy to use and almost linguistically, where we can have talks back to the machine. We're getting pretty close to that.
It's unbelievable. SMCI up 1.33% here.
Yeah.
MSTR man 275. I called that out at 199 if you remember with Jeremy Vreeland on his show.
Yeah. NASDAQ pushing higher here now.
Apple up another half here.
Tick fairly flat now in the day as the advanced decline line is fairly flat too as well, minus 23. 10 years slipping a bit, 4.3 here, so that should pull some money out of the bond market right into the stock
Yeah.
market.
I will say DJT back below 27 here. Down another 3%, and Fun PHUN, another Trump play, down another 11.84% here at 566. So those trades definitely not working. Hopefully, like we talked about, don't be the last guy trending into those. Melco, which had been up nicely after their earnings, getting hit a little bit here today, down 3.5%. Big casino out of Macau. VST, we've been talking about it, right? I know Ron was all over that. Ron up 5% here. VST, nice call there, Ron. You called that out yesterday. Didn't look very good on the daily chart yet, on the hourly chart yesterday, but definitely does now. Little bit of hourly double tap here though at the top, where we hit 9 a.m.
VIX is
yesterday.
dropping again here.
So this is interesting. So this is one actually. Ron had asked me about this yesterday morning. I didn't like the way it looked. It did retrace it back down. Now trying to make a move up, but you can see this 143.70 area has been really tough for it.
1825 now on Melly. 1830 now on Melly.
We're going to see a ton of zero DTAs today. That was without a doubt. MSTU up 4.31%. Man, I was looking at a covered call that would have expired today. That would have done
Speedy is
nicely
still
here.
Speedy is still pushing here about 6.5% here.
Coin up another 3.59% here.
We
I
are
talked
seeing
about this a little bit on Scott Bauer's show yesterday. Um, Coinbase is not just a referendum on Bitcoin or on crypto trading. They have a very built out infrastructure of um, custody for Bitcoin services, and they were one of the companies that was unfairly, in my opinion, targeted by the SEC. And they're going to be a big winner, I think, as the new administration comes. They'll start to provide a lot of um, custody for Bitcoin for high wealth individuals, private offices. They have a very good name in that world, and so keep an eye on coin here. This looks like a breakout today.
1845 now on Melly for those of you who were listening to me. Yeah,
I'm looking at it. I might start. I might put a. I know we talked about holding that longer term, but I might take that as a quick win here today.
yeah. You know what? I agree with you on this. This is this one here.
I might at least. I
I just
might.
took my I just took off myself. I think that's probably a protection of there. Up 4%. There's 68 points is a lot of is a nice run there. So I know that we were looking to get out somewhere around 1900, but that this was an easy win I think for a lot of us here.
Well, I'm gonna follow you here. Looking.
1845 62 now.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna look
Up
for a nice
4%.
clean number at 1850 here. Let me just actually. Let me look at my. Yeah, I'm gonna go for 1850 here.
That'll give you 95 points there, Howard.
Yeah, it's just, even on the 3 minute, still a buy here on my V4 indicator that I like. It is dropping a little bit, but if you look, that's a pretty good breakout. If it drops below VWAP here, I would look to maybe get out at that 1823 level if that doesn't work out. But I think it's got a little bit of legs here. And again, I was looking at this as a longer trade. I'm not afraid to stay and let it come back a little bit today. I think
Cool.
it
Yeah, I
continues.
agree with that. I agree. It's a longer trade if you want it to be. I was very heavy, so I
Yeah,
1830.
I remember you took a second position. I definitely,
Did everybody just dump on my? Is everybody watching? Wow. Um,
QQQ went positive here.
yep, agreed.
Bitcoin back above 76. Like to see that. Gold struggling to get above the 27 handle here.
Tick down 300 now.
Bank of America up about 7/10 of a point again. They got an upgrade. Citigroup gave them a target of 54 here. Seems like we're stalling out a little bit here. It's a long-term hold for you there, Ron. That's a good call. A VST, not a bad idea. Coinbase turning over here. Tick going negative down about 200. See here, we got any more halts? ELWS. ELWS on a halt here. ELWS. To the downside, all the stops here this morning. Sort of to the downside. NCL is the big runner this morning. NCL, not the NCHL, but NCL. Up about 135% so far. That one's definitely coming back down here, though. I did have some
Are seeing
pre-market
up
watchers I was watching here.
UPST.
Let's see what they did. I was looking at MCore this morning, EMKR. See, they
Upstart
continue.
is up 28% here. UPST.
There you go.
Still pushing here. Looks like that's a favorite of Kathy Woods, by the way.
Look at my scanner here. Look here. Brentford. Let's see what's going on. These are some of the pumpers here on my scanner.
We're seeing Bitcoin back to 76,000 here. Volatility VIX dropping a little bit more here. WTI dropping below the 71 handle here. 70.76 here.
This is interesting. We got a runner here. TIVC looks like it could try to run here. TIVC, if it holds above the 60 cents, 64.3, it could run here. It needed to break 65 cents. It challenged it once. It breaks 65. It's definitely going to run here. So this is one definitely keep in mind. TIVC off of my scanner here. TIVC. Let's see what happens. It's trying 62. 6206. It's going to need a volume pump. We're not getting quite enough volume. 62. Got a few of the ones off the pumpers that there it goes. 63. 64. It's going to try here. TIVC, folks, put that on your watch list today. TIVC definitely in play here. Again, it broke
I
above
bought some.
65.
Why not? I am in TIBC. Why not?
There you go.
I'm in at 62.2. Oh, 64. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Like I said, 65 is its big pivot point here for you. Another one I was looking at just now, it went off the sheet here, Triller. We'll leave this one on.
Just for fun, I think. I don't even want to keep this one here.
6108, 60. Ooh, don't worry, you still got room here.
I don't
These
know.
have the volatility. You got to let them run a little bit. Everything's looking good. You're still 2-3. Trend direction, divergence, both bullish right now. Pixie Dust, another one trying to run here that is big in the pumper community here.
I think we'll stay with TIBC here.
Oh, another one of the big ones, CHSN. CHSN just got halted, although I don't see it on the moving up, so I'm going to say that happened in the bottom. Here you go, Steve. Here's where you get it. Here's where you get it. 62.4. Come on, baby. Give it to him. 62.4. 62.8. 60. Oh, it's got to get that one spot. It's trying. It's got volume coming, Steve. I feel it for you here. 62.8. 63. 63.05. Come on, baby.
Oh, you're funny.
Let's go. 62. It's definitely, listen, these when they go down. You know it's going the wrong way. This one's fighting for its life here. 63 and change. Here it goes. This one's fighting. Take a look here what the volume looks like coming in. Again, you've got 90 million in volume. Average volume is 5.5. This one's got legs, Steve. You still got legs here. Come on, baby. What's going to help you here if we actually can get a move to the upside, it will get stopped above that 65 probably.
UI Ubiquity has been halted here. UI and now unhalted here. Ubiquity UI of 17% here.
Let's see what else we got here. SRM making a run now. SRM. And no volume. And for those wonder, I have a screener here on TradingView up to my right-hand side where 5-minute pumpers, things that have the most price increase in 5 minutes. I do keep an index and the size of it. I only do things off of NASDAQ or S&P, I don't play around with the over the counters on these.
Ouch. Getting crushed here.
Tokyo Lifestyle, that one looks like it wants to run too.
Hmm.
Yeah. You need to bounce off that VWAP there, Steve.
I'm out.
Ah,
Just yeah, that's not really what I'm. Not my normal stuff there.
yeah, you got to wait for a halt on those. Or to break to that 65. It had to break through 65. Need to see
Yeah,
that confirmation.
not a very very small loss there. So it's not much. Tick just popped a little bit to you're up 400 here. Bitcoin dropping 75.8 now. Not really
Tesla running
seeing.
again here. You brought it up in the pre-market hours. Tesla up another 2% here. 2.31. 303. Getting close to setting an all-time high.
Why not? Let's go with Mr. Musk. Not fade the Musk, right?
You fading them?
No, I said why
Oh,
not fade?
okay. I said, whoa. I don't fade him when he's running, that's for sure. Um, you know,
Yeah, I'm in at 304.21. There
nice.
you go. Yeah.
There it goes. I love when Tesla's running. It's fun. Tesla breaks 305.59, gets to a new all-time high of the day. You can look for that to make a move towards 308, in my opinion. Is where I was looking. 308.15. DJT now positive on the day, 3.74, so that could start taking your Tesla
305.25
with it.
there.
Here it goes, 305.21. That's what I mean. These things are trading in random. So now the other one to look at quickly would be Fun, which has been down tremendously today. Is that moving back up? It is starting to get a bid here. This could be a fun one to watch gap up here.
305.75 now, 306 now. So we just cleaned up my loss on the
There you go.
306.20 baby. There you go. I just cleaned up my loss on the last two. So go boom.
Not seeing anything that's moving down that I like here. The NSC getting hit pretty hard here, down 5%. Biosciences. ELWS, I don't even know what the Early Works Company down 30%. This is one of the ones that just launched, right?
Yeah.
No.
My big one PLTR now Palantir up 1.5% here.
And they just don't stop either. Another one that just keeps going. Retail getting hit a little bit here.
Bitcoin slipping still here. And
Just
we
trying to take a look to see if any of the big decliners today are any of the bigger names, but not seeing anything that looks like a bigger name. Seeing GV off a halt here. GV. Visionary Holdings. There's a name for you. Oh, this one's trying to go here. This one's on halt. Huh. This one's interesting. Got rid of 280.
1.3 million shares too.
This one you'd have to see what happens on the coming off the halt here.
Tesla 306.50 now, the high near the high.
Wow, you nailed that.
DJT now up 8% here.
Yeah, and it's running. That's why it's going to get interesting here. Some of the Trump plays. I didn't see Fun running yet. That'd be the one if you're looking that seems to be trailing. Oh, it's starting. Now it's only down 8%, so it's up 3% here. Look at that. Fun starting to run. This one's going to be the next one. If Fun breaks this 595, that's what you want to watch out. Even it looks like 590 actually. Fun above 590 here if it goes to 581. But I would need to see it break that 590. These are the ones you gotta be patient. It's gotta fit the model. Because if it doesn't break that, it's got room right back to 550. Palantir now up 2%. DJT just broke 29. Tick still slightly negative, trying to go positive here. SPY is up. QQQ relatively flat. Bitcoin back below 76,000 here. Looks like
Starbucks up
about
1.4%. Eli Lilly, these weight drugs are still pushing higher, 812.50. I mentioned this. I can't even tell you how many times I've talked about Eli Lilly, and pushing right back up. I like that bounce play right off of there. Look at LLY. It wants to come right back.
yeah. Looking at spider sectors here, what looks like we've got 8 of the 11 sectors moving in the positive way right now, being led by, looks like, utilities actually in the lead today. Utilities in the lead, followed by real estate.
Yes, Tesla went from 304.21 to 306.24 in less than 1 minute.
There you go. 10-year trying to get back up to 4.3 here, Steve. We now have QQQ, SPX, and Dow Jones all positive on the day. Ether, big winner today, up 7.55% there, Steve. Continue to push up nicely.
I'm one of my favorites is Realty Income, bouncing off
Yeah.
that 200-day moving average, now up almost 2% here, 57.40.
They have, if I'm not mistaken, gotten beat up a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it did on earnings.
Yep. A nice little bounce back. You can see they've dropped down. They were at 65 before dropping all the way down to that 56 level. I noticed that.
And I think you're going to see it. I think you're seeing these CEOs telling their employees, you better come back to work. You saw Jeff Bezos saying the same thing. There's no more hanging out at home, right? So,
Steve, will we see a lot more buybacks now with Trump in office?
100%. And you'll probably see it now because still lower rates, but as rates go back up, people will be rushing, companies will be rushing to borrow money to buy back their stock. Yes.
That makes sense. Bitcoin trying to get back above 76 here.
VIX is really dropping here underneath the 16 handle here.
Bitcoin just went back to, well, tried to go back to positive. Now it's back down a little bit. Gold trying to get that 2,700 level. Hasn't been able to hold above there, so.
Capri Holding CPRI was beaten up because of Lena Khan and the FCC not allowing the merger with Tapestry. Also released earnings and now down almost 11%.
Yeah.
I
Question
definitely
there
see
is again, if do you think that comes
100%.
back into play?
100%. They will get bought out.
And if so, is this sort of the type of area to play around with? Yeah, we know after bottomed out about 18 to 86. So this could be one. Not bad to tip your toe in here. It'd been trading as high as 40 on the news of the merger. That's an interesting one. I'm putting that on my playlist to look a little bit more into Capri here, down at this. See if we can get back down to that 1875 area. MSTR 276.40 here, man. Broke 280 yesterday. Just continuing to run. Oracle up another percent here too. Oracle's really been running. Oracle looks like I might want to try to break 190. Telling you, SPY's going to my 298 today. 298.24 is that pivot point
That's
I'm
on the
looking
highs
at.
of the day here.
You can see I've got that half measured move here in the yellow that I think is where the line in the sand for today that we got to watch with SPY.
Tesla now breaking the highs of the day, 306.60 now.
Going back above 150 here. That's good to see. 151.62. We get in that spot.
306.84 now on Tesla.
Nice. Carvana up another point here, trying to get back above 250. Wow. Peloton up 4.36% here.
Yeah, when we're watching Tesla now hit 307.12 now, highs of the day.
Intel getting hit a little bit here. Ethereum over 2,900 here. Solana looks like it wants to break 200 here.
Tesla 307.15 now. Continue to push higher here. Maybe I should have kept
Wow.
that Tesla on, huh?
Coinbase now 268.20, up almost 5% on the day. Seen a mixed bag across the crypto minings. Mara down about 1.29, Riot down almost a point, but TerraWolf up, hot up. BTDR, which is BitDeer, they're up. Clean Spark up.
DJT just taking a little bit of a break there, looks like. It just dropped there. The 20.2 million shares have traded hands in DJT so far.
Wow, that's just crazy.
On a company that's losing money hand over fist.
Hey, don't bring
308
don't bring facts into things, Steve. We know better than that.
308.37. Melly back up a little bit, 18.26 now there. SMCI still slipping here, 24.30 now.
Steve, we are getting to the 10 o'clock hour here, which means I am going to be bringing in our man, Stephen Flanagan, to talk a little currencies. Let's bring him in here. Let's put him on the hot seat, Steve, and let's double team and take him out here. Let's see what we've got. Stephen Flanagan, Mr. Currency himself. How is your Friday going? Uh-oh,
So
I don't
far,
have
so
volume
good.
from you,
Hope you
Steve.
guys are doing well.
There it is.
I hope you guys are doing well. Friday's a good day. Got a nice long weekend, and of course, we look forward to celebrating our veterans on Monday.
Absolutely. And Steve, let's talk about that big election on Tuesday, red wave. We saw that coming through. Do you think, from a currency perspective, do you think it shocked the world that Donald Trump became next president of the United States?
Steve, I do. And I think it shocked the world initially, and that's what we've seen in this move, because the narrative was that he wasn't going to win. The narrative got
Yeah,
pretty strong. I think if you saw the White House press meeting yesterday, they were asked, you you guys had painted a picture that this was like Attila the Hun coming in, and things got a little
right.
too heated. So I think that the results were a
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah, and when you look at different countries, you've been talking about it, and I just read in the journal that while Trump may not be able to get through all of the policies that he wants towards Mexico, the border wall, vice versa, and Mexico's going to pay for the wall. If he gets a third of it, a portion of what Mexico could be in trouble.
Steve, I think that there's going to be a reckoning with Mexico. I think that what we are looking to establish makes a lot of common sense. We don't want Mexico to be utilizing the free trade agreement in bringing in inexpensive Chinese cars, which would decimate the U.S. The U.S. has a more fragile market in that space. So that's all common sense stuff. I don't think Mexico is going to be hurt, but I do think Mexico has their own domestic issues that they're working and sorting through. And at 10.5% interest rate, it is very
Yeah,
restrictive to
Yeah.
an economic
yeah.
growth right now.
And I
So
got to bounce here too, Boris. I'll leave you in good hands with Hondo, but it's good to see you, Steve, and I will see you on the flip side.
have a great weekend, Steve.
So how are we doing there? You were you surprised by the quarter point move? I know you had been talking that you thought they might lean to a half point.
You know what? These guys all punted. They took the easy route. It, it doesn't take much to look around the UK. Let's start with that. A 0.25% cut to 4.75. Um, you've got a massive um, budget issue going on, which will pass along tax increases. Okay, they don't want to call it a tax increase, but everything that everybody in the UK buys and commutes and is all going to go up as a result of this,
Right?
which is going to bring an economic slowdown. Now, if you don't see that and you want to punt and take the easy route by going just 0.25%, but at the same time, Bailey says that the central bank needs to retain a gradual approach to policy easing. Howard, I'm done with all these slogans, higher for longer, transitory. They get it wrong every time, and they're going to get it wrong in the UK, except the UK has got some issues, and I'm not so, looking at it as they need to move aggressive.
Right?
And the Fed should have moved aggressive as well. 0.5% from the Fed. You saw the last unemployment number. We all know that the number in October that we saw was goosed with statistical seasonalities from the
Right.
BLS. And last month we saw that all give back. You can just imagine what next month's number is going to look like because the elections are all finished now. I'm not
Yeah, I
trying to be
mean,
conspiracy, but this is the way things work.
Were you surprised at all? Dollar moved back up here today.
So, as we talked on Wednesday, my theme right now is quickly shifted to consolidation. And in a consolidation, we start to establish a more defined trading range. That does mean that volatility will come off. I thought it would jump a little bit further. I think currency volatility could be separate, but I think in general, volatility ebbs a little bit as the buyers who missed the move are all going to be looking for levels to buy, and those who caught the move are all jumping on the top looking to sell. And we move into a period where the highs will hold, and we're looking for our support levels now.
Right. That makes sense.
So, so the dollar index here, early in a watch. You know, I think the low of 104.20, which we did talk about, probably holds the downside. Maybe we see a 103.90, but let's get ready for the next play because I do think that the next move will be a stronger dollar. And
Okay.
I think that that will be because of growth and pro growth policies, a deregulatory environment. These are all pluses to growth. And I think the dollar will benefit as a result.
Absolutely. I can say that, you hit it on the head also when it comes to China. They announced their huge stimulus, trillions of dollars, and it didn't do anything except for dump all of the, American depository companies that are representing those Chinese things. I had been talking about when we were here Wednesday, maybe looking at trying to play. That stimulus was going to give it the bump. Luckily, Steve talked me out of it because, things down about another 5% today.
Yeah, I think what we're looking here is where's the straw that's going to break the back. I mean, we talked about the states within China and the amount of debt that there is no public figures on. But if you've been in the market a long time, you know that these states. I mean, we talked about, is China debt larger than the United States? Officially, no, but unofficially, if they take it all into account, it exceeds the U.S. debt. And
Right.
that's why $1 trillion+ in stimulus here to the states is like, boop, it just gets absorbed. And everybody's looking to exit on that. But China's going to make another move, I'm sure. And I wouldn't want to count it out. I think the next move is the one that breaks the psychology and that people go, okay, how many $1 trillion are they coming in here with? And I think you got to have a handout somewhere in the marketplace looking to get long for maybe a 3 to 6 month trade, but to be long China.
Yeah, that's what I sort of was going to ask next. So you got right there for me. I appreciate that. Because that's sort of my feeling. I'm looking at what, you have to be ahead of the curve here right now in the market because everything's overbought. Let's face it, there's so much that's overbought. You're in the same camp that Steve and I are in, that we're going to see a rug pull here or a pullback, whatever you want to call it. We don't know exactly when it comes. To me, I think it's a sell the news. So, especially leading into the, January time frame, I think we're going to see that, sort of sell the news event start to come out. And I want to be positioned. And I do think that, at some point, Chinese companies do provide a value. And they are, these companies that we're talking about, like an Alibaba, aren't going away. It is the Amazon
Right.
for, it's called the Amazon of Asia for, a lot of reasons because it does so much in a broad path.
Absolutely, Howard. And so I think in this short term period, you're being presented with probably some good longer term on 3 to 6 months, but that puts us into next year of looking to buy some of these Chinese equity trade. My focus on now is Europe. And
Right.
Europe now quickly moves to the second stage. You see how quick we talked UK, and now UK I've kind of pushed to the back burner, and now I'm back into the euro here. You had this coalition government in Germany just absolutely break down. Now
Yeah.
Germany is the anchor, the engine of growth within Europe. There is no growth. If they don't begin to get something sorted out, you're looking at a situation here where Europe at a 0.5% or 0.7% growth, it's not enough. And the euro could be the one that begins to drop. And you can see already with the euro at 107 and a half level, roughly,
Right.
you're not far from, breaking these levels and really sending this into a tailspin. Um, Having been in the market so long, everybody's always said you buy the euro at 108, the dollar is going down, you're going to sell the euro in the 130s and 140s. Well, guess what? You look at those tops, the double top, triple tops at the last move up there exactly, that's a huge failure. Now
Yeah,
you
it's only
look
at
for the
112.
bottom
Like you just
and it's
said,
over.
I was listening to those numbers that you said. I'm like, wait a second. It made a nice move up to 112, but that's a pretty heavy rejection there on a double top. And you can see the last time it tried that, it
Exactly.
didn't even get that high.
And what does it tell you? It tells you that there is an urgency to get out of euros. Now
Yeah.
look for where in this consolidation, where is my support? I talked about the 106 level. I think that that's probably beckoning here, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And if you begin to break that, well, yeah, my longer term, you're going back to parity, if not lower. That's a little bit longer term. Right now, you want to be a day trade. We're in a consolidation. Look to sell the rallies.
Yeah, absolutely. Not much movement on the yen over the last couple of days, and it's been the only thing to sort of hold up with the dollar. You think that that continues in that path?
I think that the dollar yen is it's a political minefield above 145 because the Bank of Japan probably steps in. They don't want to import inflation via a weaker yen into their own economy. So I would be careful of dollar yen above there. However, with their interest rates at the low levels that they're at, and suddenly Jay Powell talking about slow as you go, and it takes time due to that the strength of our economy is holding them back from cutting too aggressively. You know, again, another central bank punting, taking the easy route. Jay Powell, did you not see the last unemployment number? Are you not seeing a ebbing of growth in the U.S.? So, I guess they prefer to be data dependent. So when the data shows the urgency, they then go, oh, we got to cut a 0.5%, instead of trying to be predictable and getting out there and recognizing what's going on. So, I'm watching very carefully. I think
Sure.
the currency markets can be explosive at times, but for this particular maybe 1 to 2 week period, a consolidation means vols begin to come off. We look for a defined trading range. Once support is established and resistance, mark them carefully because the acceleration begins when those begin to be breached.
That's great takeaway right there, everybody. So as Steven's saying, let this volatility calm down. It looks like it is. Let everything set up its trading ranges. I'm a big fan of that when it comes to Bitcoin and some of these things. Let it calm down a little bit. You'll see the trading ranges develop and play those edges for the continuation trade or the reversal trade, depending on what you're seeing in the markets. But, playing those edges versus playing the middle is probably the way to go when it comes to these types of times. Were you surprised,
And Howard,
Powell yesterday coming out and saying, "Hey, listen, he can't fire me, and I'm not resigning." I wasn't personally. I took a takeaway of he was just trying to say to the reporters, "Enough's enough. Don't spend the next 3 months asking me this question. Here's my answer today, and it's going to be the same tomorrow." I felt it was sort of his Jackson Hole moment towards politics and so forth.
yeah, I wasn't surprised, and I was kind of happy he came out and established that. And I don't think that you're going to see a new president come in and get rid of Jay Powell. Why would they do that and create instability? Jay Powell is, orchestrated through this period. You want to give him the drop the mic on a soft landing. That's great. But what I'm surprised is the governor of New York, governor of Illinois, governor, I think, of another state, all coming out. You better not come for us because we'll come right back at you. And then you've got Europe coming out. European leaders just met in Budapest, and they urged the president, continue to support the Ukraine and avoid trade wars with us. Everybody is coming out because this narrative that this is Attila the Hun coming in, stop. It's not happening. Stability in the world is everybody's goal. And I think that will play out. And I would like to just say for the viewers here, what the currency markets can tell you as ahead of time. That's why I urge you to have currencies on your desktop. Don't have to trade them, but they give you a window of what's going on. And that window right now is telling you consolidation.
Yep.
So if you've traded the last 3 or 4 days in this up move and caught it, this is a great time on rallies to exit and take your profit and look to buy it back on the dip. Let's see where the support points come in. Markets do not move one way all the time forever. They are the higher they go, the faster they fall in today's markets. So this is what currencies are telling you. Stability is consolidation is in the air right now, and that's what we should be looking for right now.
Yeah, I'll point out, I don't know if you were listening earlier, I've been tracking the SPY um, here for some measured moves that it's been making nicely. And you can see it's right at it literally almost hit exactly to where I was saying this 598.24, which would be a half measured move up. And like you're saying, I think that's where that's your pivot point. Don't get me wrong, it can make the full measured move up here to 607, 608, but I want to see what it does here. This is sort of the line in the sand for me. I want to see what it does here before I do it, because these pullbacks can be significant. You could look for a pullback back to 585 to happen in a matter of an hour or two. So, I think that you're saying with these currencies are sort of giving you that blow off top is sort of played out. That's what I'm sort of seeing here as I look through, some of those peers that we just had up here. Japan, whether it be, the sterling, these are, the moves. We haven't seen that explosive move here. We're seeing, like you're saying, a little bit more stability. We're seeing things settle in. So, again, I think that you are not being an alarmist in what you're saying. I think you're being pragmatic. It's something that we talk about. Protect yourself. If you don't have maybe the same conviction, just put a trailing stop in. Put a stop loss there. There's never something wrong with that. You can always, if it hits, you'll see the alert. You can make your decision at that point what you want to do. But, I always am very big on, and you came from a risk management world, right? And it's about maintaining your portfolio, maintaining your money, and that's what you have to do in these times. I've seen it too many times again in the world of crypto as things just go skyrocketing and everybody says no, 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 it's going to whatever X might be. Right now we hear everybody with 100,000 on Bitcoin, and I'm saying, man, you know what? I've got a spot where I'm going to be happy to take some profit here. And that's what I think you got to look at.
You have to live to fight another day.
There you go. That, I think that you just hit another soundbite for us. You gotta be able. You have to have powder in that cannon to fire it tomorrow. And there are too many times where people get,
That's
like
right.
we've talked about. If everybody's fishing off that left side of the boat, you better have some protection so you don't fall off the right side.
Right. And when I saw your SPY chart there, the first thing that just jumped out at me is gap. The gap trade.
Yep.
Everything at some point fills the gap.
Yeah.
Everything. When you
Yeah,
look
I
at
mean
that,
they
you
do.
put
They
a
do.
buyer.
It is amazing to that fact that people don't realize that, two-thirds of gap gets filled in a certain amount of time frame, and then eventually they almost all do. Um,
That's right. And that's where you buy. Well, and that's when everybody's going, get me out. And that's when you step in. In currencies and the dollar yen you just had up, you don't see the gaps because $7.5 trillion trades in a day. It's
Right.
very difficult to get a gappy move in that.
Yeah, we'd have a problem if we see a gap in
So,
one of in one of these.
yeah, when you see a gap in the currency markets, you want to make sure your antenna are on high alert because something big is going on. Because money moves first. And if
Right.
money moves first,
Absolutely.
you want to be the first one to see it, and it shows in the price.
I would say this is outside of Mexico, everything being within about a 1% move here. It's a pretty quiet day, as you've sort of said, when it comes to currency. Um, what do you, is there any other thing? What do
Yeah,
we
I
have
mean,
coming up? I haven't looked at the world calendar. I mean, we just got through so much.
yeah, we got through so much. So this is an important weekend. On This would be what my homework will be. So I'll offer it with you. I want to read. I want to read everybody's opinions about what's happened the last 2 days, the Trump trade, et cetera, et cetera. I want to understand what's going on and why everybody moved in the way. As I said to Steve, I don't think the market was priced for this victory, nor the strength of the victory on Trump's part. So I
Right.
think that's what you've seen play out. Now I think in a consolidation, I want to be looking at where can I buy, but I want to allow some of this. Use more things like stochastics, RSI.
Yeah.
These are good indications of where momentum ebbs and where it begins to cross and turn. And the markets left alone without a new piece of data, such as the Trump trade that seems to have priced in, will be looking for new data to trade. In the absence of new data, a consolidation of an up move trades off.
Right, that makes
Simple.
sense because there isn't really anything huge coming up here for a little bit. I think we took a deep breath. FOMC, as I said to Steve, I don't can't tell you the last time nothing happened after an FOMC. I mean, it didn't even move anything. I mean, it just literally was a
Right.
nothing burger. And it shows you. I think that I also think it shows because it didn't give us another boost up that you also another reason for me that I've got my antennas up a little bit more about this pullback could be starting to get timed in like we talked about. We don't know when exactly it's coming, but we do all sort of feel that the same thing's coming. It seems to me that it's getting closer and closer as we're looking. I'd be getting my stop losses in place, my trailing stops. I'd be pulling them up a little bit. All of those type of things. VIX keeps on dropping. Maybe now is a time to buy some VIX insurance. I don't know how you feel with that, but what we always tell people, or I always tell people, is you want to buy that well when you don't need it. You don't buy VIX as things start to go bad. You buy them when there's nothing going on.
Right. Weekend risk is always there. So, I mean, to dabble a little bit in it on a Friday afternoon is not a bad thing. I think over the weekend, the one thing that you can watch would be Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin begins to sell off over the weekend, the consolidation theme that I'm talking about is probably now showing itself in the price action. Bitcoin at least trades all weekend long, so it's something you can watch, and that's a good indication that it trades lower. Consolidation is in the air, and Monday would be expected to be a down day in the absence of new data points.
Yeah, so I have a question for you there because you might be able to answer this from the Forex world. So OTC desks on Bitcoin are big where all these ETFs are trading theirs and very similar to what we have in the stock market. What happens is the big boys trade amongst themselves. They price it off of an index, whether it be Coinbase's price or Binance's, so that we don't have huge slippage with these $621 million that have to be bought to satisfy what the ETFs did. I'm hearing for callouts from these OTC desks asking for Bitcoin and paying somewhere to 2 to 5% premium. Is that something that happens in some ways in Forex too in this world, or is there anything like that in the Forex world?
No, and again, we've talked about this a few times. While Bitcoin is moving more and more as a subject, the volumes that go through are infinitesimal to the
Right.
volumes that would go through a currency market. So, I think there's more structure involved in a currency market that would
Oh yeah,
That
without a
would
doubt.
be
I just wondered if there was
apparent.
some sort of, because what I'm trying to figure out is what is that squeeze? What will that squeeze do? Because what happened is, just so you know, is the OTC desks first put a reach out to other whales and other desks and say, hey, can we get some from you? And if they can't, the bottom line is they have to get it and they need it to supply their customers. Then they have to buy it actually at market price, and that's when you see those squeezes that you wonder what just happened in the world of Bitcoin sometimes are caused by that. And this is a new phenomena because we've never had 621 million that have to be bought by next Monday, basically. You know,
Right,
that's the deal. The
right.
ETFs have to reconcile their stuff on a weekly basis. They do it actually on a daily basis to keep up, but they'll have to have it done by Monday. So that's the one thing that I'm keeping an eye out that is a little tough, and that's why I'm just pointing it out to you because I don't know that Bitcoin acts like it actually should over the weekend. I think there's going to be some outside forces at play there that will continue to push it towards 80.
Just I would only say from my experience, when we begin talking about those things, it's already been covered. So if you don't see a corresponding higher play, then look out below
Yeah,
because
I know it
everybody
hasn't
buying
because
that.
what it is they're holding the orders as of right now. So yeah, I
Yeah,
have a good insight into some of the larger OTC desks in the world. They're all still reaching
right.
out. No,
But
that's why I know because I'm getting the emails. Hey, now it's
yep,
it was at first. Can we does anyone have any that they want to sell? We're looking. Then it was I'll give you a 2% premium over current Coinbase price. Then it's moved to 5%, and they're
right.
still not getting enough wherewithal because they don't want to go to the regular market. The slippage for them it becomes a big problem there because
But
they've guaranteed already their clients.
those
They've told BlackRock, "I'm going to sell it to you without without a slippage." So that's where they tend to have to eat that slippage. So that's why I say it. It's going to be interesting to see because that's why I was trying to get a gauge because I don't know that there's ever been anything outside of like the GameStop situation that we had where, Robinhood and these other exchanges couldn't go anywhere to borrow more to cover what they had to cover. Where do you go as a buyer of last resort, so to speak? We don't have the Fed. We don't have the overnight repo, market to do these things. And that's and
this
that's what's got me wondering here. It's one of those I normally would be looking here. I
this
have
is
again, if
the
you look my measured move of where I would be looking normally here at this
yeah,
77.5 area to scale a little bit out. I don't scale much out as you know, but I do have the 10 to 15% that I play with in my portfolio like that. And normally I'd be looking here, but I just I have this, I've never seen this before. I've dealt with OTC desks since 2014. I've never seen them scrambled. It's a new phenomena, so that's why I'm trying to find a gauge of what could you expect there. And I'm hearing people. It's funny because you get crypto Twitter in the same way as FX Twitter and all these stock twits and these things, and there are people that are out there that don't usually speak up a lot that are calling out for some big numbers right now, and they're people I know that are in the OTC world. Um, you know,
this is the cornerstone of why this market, until there's regulatory and these type of things are sorted out, where buyers are well aware, sellers are well aware of an accepted slippage, that this is why this market is
yeah, it's
still
going to
in
be
its
interesting to see because,
infancy.
like I
And as
said,
you
the guy who has the biggest order out right now is Larry Fink, and I don't think he likes those type of things. But he's Mr. Bitcoin lately, And hey, listen, for them, it's funny to see too. I will say there too is there's been a little bit of a change, and everybody's jumping on. Well, now Larry Vix is pro Bitcoin. Of
yep,
course he is. It's one of its biggest money makers. That ETF. They make their percentage on AUM, and it has quickly become the largest AUM in the shortest amount of time since the gold. It's killed what
right,
gold ETFs did, and that's why he's a fan. Don't think that necessarily that Larry Fink is buying Bitcoin for his own portfolio. He's a fan of it right now because
that's
it
right,
is bringing dollars into his stockholders.
of course. Howard, I've got to cut you short because I got to run. So
No problem.
it's
Thank you
been
so
great. I
much for
look
joining
forward
us.
to
We'll see you
picking.
again Monday morning for Quasar Markets Live. We'll see you
Very good.
back here at 1 o'clock with Scott Bauer. Thank you so much, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, Scott. Talk to you later. Bye. Have a good weekend.
You too.